Hello my dear students, I welcome you all to today's English class. Dear students, we are discussing the Olympic champion and the ducks. In the previous class, we have discussed paragraph 1 and 2. We will continue in this class. Dear students, let us just recapitulate what we have already discussed in the previous class. In the paragraph 1, we discussed Bobby Pierce started rowing from the age of 5. Bobby Pierce started learning from a very young age. At the age of 6, he won his first race. By the time he was 6, he had already won his first race. He was rowing or sculling. Paragraph 2. At the age of 20, he was the sculling champion of Australia. By the time he was 20 years old, he was already the sculling champion of Australia. In 1928, he participated in the Olympic Games. The next year, in 1928, he was sent to participate in the Olympic Games. Students, now let's discuss the text. Then suddenly something happened. As we discussed in the previous class, Bobby Pierce was in the Olympic Games and he was participating against Myers. Then suddenly something happened. As the race was going on, something happened. Bobby heard a shout from the bank and looked over his shoulder. So Bobby heard a shout. Okay, there was a shout coming from the bank. Okay, the bank refers to the edge of a river or a canal. Okay, so here, as you can see in the picture, okay, the people who were standing in the bank of the canal, they were shouting. There was a shout coming from. So Bobby looked over his shoulder. Looked over means to check. Okay. So Bobby wanted to check or examine why they were shouting. And as you can see in this picture, okay, he looked over his shoulder. He checked behind his shoulder. He saw a duck and her ducklings swimming across the canal. So what did he see? He saw a duck and her ducklings. Duckling means the young ones. The young ducks or the babies of the duck. So Bobby saw a family of ducks swimming across the canal. Across means from one side to another. So Bobby saw a group of ducks directly swimming in front of the boat. They were swimming into the course of his boat and the boat was going to run into them. So here the duck and its ducklings, the family of ducks, they were swimming directly in the course of his boat, means directly on the path of the boat, and the boat was going to run into them. run into means hit someone by accident. Hit someone by accident. So the boat was going to hit those ducks. It was going to crush them. The poor birds had no idea that they were in the middle of an Olympic race. The poor birds, poor, unfortunate, the birds, they had no idea that they were in the middle of an Olympic race. Now students, let us discuss the comprehension questions. We have the text here. We will read the question and try to answer them. Question number 5. What did Bobby see? He saw a duck and her ducklings swimming across the canal. So Bobby saw a duck and her ducklings swimming across the canal. Next question. If Bobby had not stopped, what would have happened? As you can see, the boat was going to run into them. So if Bobby had not stopped, the boat would have crushed them. Now let us continue with the text. Immediately Bobby slowed his boat down. As soon as Bobby saw the family of ducks, he slowed his boat down, slowed down his boat. Myers was catching him very fast. Myers, his competitor, he was coming very fast. The people on the shore were shouting as if they were mad. The people standing on the bank of the canal, the edge of the canal or the shore, it refers to that bank or the edge. They were shouting as if they were mad. People couldn't understand what was going on, what is going to happen at the time. But Bobby waited patiently until all the ducklings were out of harm's way. Bobby waited patiently. He was calm and composed. Until all the ducklings were out of harm's way. Out of harm's way means safe. So Bobby waited very patiently. Until all the ducklings were safe. They safely crossed their path. Then he picked up speed and went on to win the race easily. Then Bobby, picked up speed. He started going very fast and he went on to win the race and he won the race very easily. Now students, let us discuss the comprehension questions. We have the text here. Question number 7. Did he wait for some time to let the dogs pass? Bobby slowed his boat down. Bobby waited patiently until all the ducklings were out of harm's way. So, the answer is yes. He waited for some time. He waited for some time patiently. To let the ducks pass. Next question. Did Bobby win the race in spite of the delay? Did Bobby win the race? Yes. Look here. Then he picked up speed and went on to win the race easily. So, the answer is yes. Bobby won the race. Yes, Bobby won the race in spite of the delay. Now students, let us continue with the remaining text. Of all the Olympic heroes, it was he who won everybody's heart. So, of all the Olympic heroes, it was he, Bobby Pierce, who won everybody's heart. He not only won the race, but also he won the heart of everyone present there. A Dutch newspaper wrote, he won the goodwill of the children of Amsterdam. A Dutch newspaper. Dutch means people of Netherlands. The people of Netherlands are called Dutch. So a Dutch newspaper wrote, he won the goodwill of the children. Bobby not only won the race, but also he won the love and faith of the children, the goodwill of the children of Amsterdam. Amsterdam is the town of Netherlands where the Olympic game was going on. His friends in the Australian Olympic team were not surprised by the incident of the ducks. His friends, Bobby's friends in the Australian Olympic team, they were not surprised with this incident. Bobby is that kind of bloke, they said. They said Bobby is that kind of person. Here bloke means man or person. It's an informal way of saying. Okay, so his friends, they said Bobby is that kind of person. He is that kind of man. He is very kind-hearted. From the age of 6, Bobby Pierce competed in races for 33 years and retired from sports in 1945. Bobby started at the age of 6. As we know, he started doing races from a very young age of 6 and he continued his sports career for 33 years. For 33 long years, he continued to participate in sculling, rowing, and retired. Retired means stopping his career. His career came to an end from sports in 1945. In 1945, his career came to a stop. He retired from sports. How many of these races do you think he lost? How many races do you think he lost? Not a single race. It means throughout his career, he had never lost. He never lost a race. He always won. Isn't it very surprising that one sports person had never lost. He had never lost a race throughout his life. Okay, so he was a very great athlete. He was a very great Olympian. Look at his medals. He won Olympic medals and many other kinds of medals. And he was a very great athlete. He was Bobby Pierce. Now we will discuss the comprehension questions. Question number 9. Why did he win everybody's heart? For winning the race or for waiting to let the ducks pass? Why did Bobby win everybody's heart? Yes, he won for waiting to let the ducks pass. For waiting to let the ducks pass. Next question. What did the Dutch newspaper write about him? Look at the text. A Dutch newspaper wrote, he won the goodwill of the children of Amsterdam. So, the Dutch newspaper wrote, he won the goodwill of the children of Amsterdam. Now look at question number 11. Why were his Australian friends not surprised? As you can see, his friends in the Australian Olympic team were not surprised by the incident of the dogs. Bobby is that kind of bloke, they said. They knew Bobby was that kind of bloke, that kind of person. So why were his Australian friends not surprised? They were not surprised because Bobby was that kind of person. Next question. Question number 12. Do you like Bobby? Why? Yes, we all like Bobby Pierce. Why? Because he is a great sports person and also a kind-hearted person, isn't it? He risked his medal to save the family of dogs. Okay. So do you like Bobby? Yes. Why? Because he was a great sports person and also he was a kind-hearted person. So students, what we have learnt in today's class? We recapitulated what we had discussed in the previous class and we read and comprehended paragraph 3, 4 and 5 of this lesson. So students, this is all for today's class. Thank you. Bye bye.